Good afternoon, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, and here is your Hurricane and Hurricane HD video update for Sunday, July 8th, 2012. Pretty much the same pattern resides in the Atlantic that has been for the last several days, at least since Debbie departed the scene, which has given a chance for northern Florida to dry out. They certainly needed that dry spell since Debbie brought so much rain to the region. We do have a tropical wave situated in here, very weak and convection free. Too much dry, stable air sitting out here. Then there's another tropical wave getting tangled up over portions of Central America. A little bit more of an unstable, moisture-rich environment there in this region. Thus, it is flaring up just a little bit, but the fact that it's over land will prevent any development from happening. If we look at the worldwide tropical cyclone formation map, I guess is the best way to call it, and I'll zoom in just a little bit here, you see that the globe as a whole, very quiet. The only activity as far as named storms goes is right here in the eastern Pacific with Hurricane Daniel and then Tropical Storm Emilia, and that is it. Nothing in the Atlantic Basin to speak of. I mean, there's nothing at all. Nothing even in the western Pacific, which is pretty unusual considering we are supposed to be heading towards an El Nino event where the Pacific is warmer than normal. So you would expect that we would see more tropical cyclone activity in the tropical Pacific, especially the western Pacific, and we are not. It is confined to the eastern Pacific, and I'll address more about why that may be on tomorrow's update, where we take a look at sea surface temperature anomalies and the current El Nino forecast and situation there. Looking out over Africa, fairly active intertropical convergent zone over the continent itself. All of this dark color up here indicates very, very warm surface temperatures on the planet. This is an infrared satellite picture. The Sahara Desert in there, very warm over northern Africa. And then this is the monsoon trough that extends off the coast of Africa, a focusing mechanism for showers and thunderstorms, a convergent zone, if you will. Just a weak area of generalized low pressure. We're still probably a month away to where we really have to start looking out here, but these tropical waves will continue to get a little bit more robust as each week goes by, and then they will make their way out into the Atlantic, moving westward, and we'll have to see where they end up and what they do or do not accomplish in their lifetimes. Some of them will end up in the eastern Pacific, these tropical waves. They come along and then they develop into East Pacific hurricanes, such as Daniel here. I don't know that it necessarily came from a tropical wave, but sometimes that is the case. And then we have strengthening Tropical Storm Emilia right there. Now look at Daniel. It is a very well-developed hurricane. All the structure is intact. Its problem, there's no shear coming in. That's not the problem. In terms of its demise, if you want to talk about why it's weakening. And I think you can tell that it's weakening. You see all these low gray clouds and just one little area here in the middle of sustained convection. It's running into this colder water that's sitting out here ahead of it, and that's just the slow, gradual demise of these systems when they run over colder water. I think that dry air intrusion is the fastest way to knock down a tropical cyclone, followed by closely second place colder water temperatures in a more stable environment because of that. So Daniel will continue to move off to the west, maybe even a little bit south of west, and head towards Hawaii in a much weakened state, and then Emilia will continue to strengthen and become a hurricane and head off in this direction. If we look at the forecast track for Daniel, you see it's headed generally towards Hawaii. Let me zoom back out here. But by the time it reaches the longitude of Hawaii here, at about 155 degrees west, it'll be just a remnant low, a little depression. Might bring just a little bit of an increase in showers and some maybe a change in direction of the trade winds. Otherwise, folks on the Big Island and the rest of the string of pearls out there won't notice Daniel at all. Emilia gonna head west-northwest and then bend back towards the west as it becomes a hurricane and then weakens over these colder waters of the Pacific through here. And then that'll be it. Everything will be quiet probably for a good deal of the remainder of July, and then we get towards August, not as far away as you may think. August, September, October, the prime time for the hurricane season. What will happen? Nobody knows the answer to that, at least not definitively. But that's what we'll do. We'll take a look at that on a daily basis to try to unravel some clues and figure out what may be coming. For now, and probably the next week, everything's going to remain quiet in the Atlantic Basin, which is really good news there. Again, I am Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, my website. As I've always mentioned, it's a pleasure to do these videos for Hurricane and Hurricane HD. Wonderful apps for the iPhone and the iPad. I hope you enjoy them as much as I do. And I will have another video blog for you tomorrow.